Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to be briefly discussing our proposition for acquiring a new company. We are members of Microsoft Corporation's executive management team and have been tasked with identifying potential investment targets. Today we're going to discuss Microsoft's financial ability to invest in this target. We're going to propose a feasible consideration mix that we could potentially use in the investment and how this consideration will be funded. We're going to discuss potential synergies with the investment target, and all possible accounting issues will be identified and discussed as well. Our proposed target is Adobe Systems, which is a multinational computer software company which creates multimedia and creativity software products. Recently, the company has been focused on internet application software development. They currently have a market capitalization of $53.53 billion and is traded on the NASDAQ. So why should we choose Adobe? Adobe has as you can see, impressive 5-year growth with their market price. It started off in 2012 with around the $30 market price, and it's grown up to, at the end of 2016, with $104 market price. It's been steadily increasing throughout these years. Adobe offers a wide variety of products which enhance customers' experiences. The company has made huge strides in the cloud, which plays into our growing sector of the cloud-based business. They offer many visual and interactive programs. Examples are Dreamweaver, a website and mobile and app design, Premiere Pro, which is a video production and editing software, and the one that you probably know best, Photoshop, which is the premier photo editing software on the market. We are very excited to be able to bring these amazing programs to the Microsoft family. Smartphones are the primary device for 83% of consumers. 82% of executives think mobile apps are integral to their organization and business. Adobe is breaking barriers in the mobile app marketing and design. They have 8 programs in their cloud-based marketing suite. Those consist of Analytics, Audience Manager, Campaign, Experience Manager, Media Optimizer, Primetime, Social, and Target. The analytics gather, analyze, and act upon your customer data in real time and across all marketing channels. The Audience Manager builds unique audience profiles so you can identify your most valuable segments and use them across any digital channel. The Campaign segment delivers automated one-to-one messages across all your marketing channels based on customers' actions and preferences. The Experience Manager segment simplifies the management and delivery of your content and assets so you can focus on customer experience. The Media Optimizer segment predicts the impact of changes to your search, display, and social ads, and then easily manage and automate the campaigns. The Primetime segment creates and monetize engaging and personalized TV and video experience with a multi-screen platform. The Social segment uses a signal solution to create your relevant content, publish to your most engaged audiences, and improve your social marketing results. And finally, the Target segment quickly creates A/B and multi-variety tests, understands the most successful content, and delivers personalized experiences. Together, they bring data and content into a single place so companies can deliver the ideal experience to every customer every time. I'm most excited about this next product, Adobe Acrobat, because I use it in my everyday life and can see firsthand the positive impact it can have on personal computing experiences. Adobe Acrobat is a software that allows users of different computer systems to transfer a document from one computer to another without any degradation or change in how the document looks on the screen or in print. Acrobat preserves colors, fonts, graphic elements, and the layout of a document and reproduces them accurately. It converts the document's file format into portable document file or PDF format, which can be read by any computer by using Acrobat Reader software. PDF is a more efficient medium for producing, storing, and sharing documents since it compresses the file and saves memory. Adobe offers more than 100 products. It would be impossible to cover each product during this presentation. Each product enhances the consumer's experience and would be an excellent fit for Microsoft. We just took a moment to touch on a few of the products that we were most excited about that we feel provide the most synergy with Microsoft. Also, the majority of Adobe's products are now cloud-based, which aligns perfectly with our current business strategies, which are centered around cloud-based personal computing. Microsoft already offers its customers the best of convenience and productivity. As mentioned previously, it appears Adobe and Microsoft are the perfect fit. Microsoft has a lot of hardware that they manufacture and distribute, specifically the Surface tablet. If we could prepackage our hardware offering with a full suite of Adobe software, it would generate more sales as customers are getting more value. Imagine. A perfect example would be Microsoft offering the very best Office suite, including Acrobat Cloud-based, which can be offered on your phone or Surface tablet. The suite would allow young professionals the opportunity to produce excellent Word formatted document from their phone. The user can then e-signature the document, convert it into a PDF, and then upload it for a second party to download from the cloud. This will all be done from a phone or Surface tablet as the client Ubers to work in the morning. In addition to the synergies we're excited about with Adobe, we're also excited about the additional revenue that Adobe will continue to earn after the acquisition. The financial benefit from a gross revenue standpoint is projected to be $2.45 to $3.0 billion additionally in the first year, depending on the impact of our company's synergies. This additional revenue accounts for a full 1.02% jump. When assessing whether we have the financial capability to invest in Adobe, we need to assess how highly leveraged we are as a company and whether we have current assets that can be used to fund the investment. Our market capitalization is currently $466.88 billion, which far exceeds that of Adobe, which we mentioned earlier was $53.53 billion. When identifying how highly leveraged we are, we use the debt ratio. To determine the debt ratio, we divided total liabilities by total assets. This ratio was 0.63. While this may appear that we are highly leveraged, this ratio is in fact below the industry average. Thus, we are in good position to take on more debt. Most importantly, we identified current assets that could be used to finance the investment. We have cash on hand of $6.51 billion and the short-term investments of $106.73 billion. These short-term investments can easily be converted into cash to make the investment. Having identified our current financial position, we can conclude that we are in a good position to make the purchase of Adobe. We have a substantial amount of short-term assets that can be used to fund the acquisition. These short-term assets far exceed the market cap of Adobe systems, thus it may be a good option to fund the investment. We had the potential to take on more debt to fund the investment, however we are close to the threshold that is considered safe within the industry. Therefore, if we could avoid taking on debt, this course of action would be advised. If we do choose to use debt, we will not be able to fully finance the acquisition through it and would rather need to use a combination of cash, equity, and debt. The option that seems highly feasible is issuing shares to finance the acquisition. There are currently $7.75 billion outstanding shares that can be potentially be issued to raise the necessary capital for the acquisition. Therefore, Microsoft is in a financially sound position to make this acquisition.
That was good.
We are proposing that Microsoft should buy 51% of Adobe shares. By doing this, we will have controlling interest over Adobe, and we will be able to use their technology and information how we want. We could work with their employees to create better things that will benefit both Microsoft and Adobe. In order to get the majority share of Microsoft, we should pay $33 billion to Adobe. We will do this in a 60-40 split. 60% will be paid with cash, and 40% will be paid by giving Adobe some of our equity shares. In total, we will be paying $19.8 billion in cash to Adobe, and we would be giving them $13.2 billion worth of equity shares. This price that we came up with is what 51% of Adobe is worth, plus goodwill. We choose to pay for Adobe shares by doing the 60-40 split. We want to give them $13.2 billion worth of our equity stock because the stock market is up right now. So our stock prices are worth more than what they would be if the stock market was down. So we would be giving up less stock now than if the stock market was down. We want to pay 60% of Adobe shares with cash because we have the $19.8 billion to pay for it on hand, and we will still have more cash on hand. By paying with cash and equity shares, we aren't in debt. We use two different valuation methods to determine the consideration amount that will be fair and accepted by the shareholders of Adobe. The consideration we decided upon was $33 billion. The first method we used was the market approach valuation method. This method requires the use of the fair market value of the share multiplied by the required number of shares. We are attempting to purchase 51% of Adobe, thus we will require 300 million shares, and the current market price is $108.66 per share. When these amounts are multiplied, it values the company at $32.64 billion. In order to gain a good perspective, we decided to also incorporate a second valuation method. The second valuation method we used was the book value. This method consists of the book value of the assets, which is $11.726 billion, minus any relevant liabilities, which is $4.724 billion. Thus, using this approach, Adobe Systems Inc. is valued at $7.001 billion. The reason for the large difference between the two methods is because the book value method does not include branding, potential growth, and market perception, while the market approach does. Therefore, we feel the market approach is the most realistic valuation of Adobe and probably the value that Adobe shareholders consider the company to be worth. Thus, we are willing to offer $33 billion, which is in excess of the market approach valuation amount. But this excess amount will be needed to convince the Adobe shareholders that the offer is an acceptable and fair amount. To determine goodwill, you need to calculate the fair market value of the entity, and then the remaining amount of the consideration is goodwill. The goodwill amount is difficult to calculate without doing an in-depth due diligence of the company, as the fair market value of assets are not readily available. Thus, we will assume the fair market value of the company is the capitalization amount. Therefore, goodwill will be $33 billion. $32.64 billion equals $360 million. We believe that the Board of Adobe Systems Inc. will accept the offer for a number of reasons listed below. The offering price exceeds the current market price. The current price is $108.66, and we will offer $109.85. The remaining shareholders will see the benefits of the synergies that a merger with Microsoft will create. It will allow Adobe and Microsoft to grow at a rapid rate and thus increase long-term yields. Finally, the shareholders will receive 60% equity and compensation. Thus, shareholders will be inclined to take the Microsoft stock as Microsoft pays a dividend yield of 2.45%. We already have a strategic partnership with Adobe, so buying a majority share would just increase the amount of work that we do with each other. By doing this, we will be able to create new products and ideas that better help our customers and put us ahead of our competitors. By acquiring Adobe, we will be helping out the customers of both Microsoft and Adobe. Many people will make something in Word and then convert it to a PDF to share with other people. If we could combine these two software systems, we would make it easier on customers to create and share their documents. When something is made easier for the customers, they are more likely to continue to use it and use it more frequently. Now that we have talked about some of Adobe's great products, as well as our plans for consideration and the actual purchase, we will now talk about the accounting issues that will be involved during and after the acquisition. The first accounting issue in question is whether or not to dissolve the target company after the acquisition. We have decided that Adobe has a really great reputation and brand name recognition that we don't want to lose. Therefore, Adobe will retain its name and incorporation. Customers also display a level of loyalty to Adobe products, and we want to ensure we don't lose their trust. We have decided that the purchase should be a one-time acquisition, largely because of the size and nature of the transaction. If a step acquisition were implemented, the effects of the purchase would be drawn out over several reporting periods. In this way, the effects and benefits of the merger will be more readily quantifiable. Due to complexity and sheer size of our merger, it will be highly likely that a number of complex intra-entity transactions will take place, both with inventory up and downstream, and with depreciable assets as management determines the most efficient use of each. Because of the size of both companies, there may be geographic advantages of moving inventories between the companies and reassigning the ownership of the assets in a way that is most cost-effective. Here is the Adobe Systems Inc.'s asset section of the 2015 balance sheet. The cash and cash equivalents is equal to $876 million. The total current assets is equal to $4.821 billion, and the total assets is equal to $11.726 billion. Please also note the large amount associated with goodwill on their balance sheet. In addition, purchase and other intangible assets may also need to be expertly revalued by an independent expert. Goodwill accounts for 46% of Adobe's total assets. Our total consideration has been decided at $33 billion as a mix of cash and equivalents and equity. At this ratio, goodwill would account for $15.18 billion of the total acquisition cost, with the remaining $17.82 billion allocated to cash, receivables, and the other tangible assets held by the corporation. Adobe is a multinational corporation and therefore has foreign subsidiaries in multiple countries. According to Adobe's 10-K, we translate assets and liabilities of foreign subsidiaries whose functional currency is their local currency at exchange rates in effect at their balance sheet date. We'll need to consider their treatment of foreign currency translation when consolidating our financial statements. In summation, we spoke about Adobe's exciting products, the synergy between Microsoft and Adobe, how we plan to acquire them, and the compensation we plan to pay for the majority share of their company. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our recommendation to the board to move forward with an offer to acquire a majority share of Adobe Systems Inc. We feel strongly the synergies and profitability of Adobe make it a perfect target for Microsoft. This acquisition will take Microsoft to the next level and provide the company with a sustainable competitive advantage. Thank you for your time and consideration.